Hey, good morning, everyone, the young and the young at heart, as we say. Okay, I have some board games here. We probably all play board games occasionally, sometimes, some more than others. Um, these are some that we like. We've got Balderdash. These are really old.
Yeah, like
I mean,
1950.
Classic. I mean, probably antique, but Scrabble we like occasionally. And then, of course, there's Monopoly, which has been around forever. Boy, this is really old, and this is the British one, the British version. Anyway, when you open up one of these games, if you get a new game, you look inside and you read the instructions, which is usually a good idea. So the instructions. Right. It usually says the number of players, 2 or up to 6 players. But then the first thing it says is the object of the game. And so this is Balderdash. The object of the game, it says, is to invent a phony definition for each word in play that could be mistaken by the other players as the correct definition. To identify and choose the correct definition for each word in play. And then it says, this is obvious, the object of the game, to be the first player to reach the space marked finish. Okay, well, I think in other words, the object of the game is to win. What is the object of another board game that you can think of? Maybe Monopoly. The object is how you win, what winning looks like.
Right.
So what does winning look like in, say, Monopoly?
Bankrupting everybody.
Exactly. Being the one to get the most money and the most property and bankrupt everybody else. The object of the game. So you have to know the goal if you're going to play. Otherwise, you just go on playing endlessly and it would be boring. This one says from Monopoly, this is so old. Instead of the object, it says brief idea of the game. Well, the idea of the game is to buy and rent or sell properties so profitably that players increase their wealth, the wealthiest becoming the eventual winner. Okay, we got it. I think we understand. Okay, that was the title slide. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so what is the object of the game in life? And I don't mean the board game called life, because there is one called life, but I mean in real life. Yes, slide number 2. What is the object of life? And I'm not saying that life is all fun and games, because it certainly isn't.
Right.
But what is the object of real life? Well, this is some ideas that people have. A, the object or the goal is to make as much money as possible before you die, which sounds like Monopoly as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think this. Of course, you can't take it to the grave with you, so what's the point? Anyway, B, some people think only to have as much fun as possible. Only. I'm not saying don't have fun. Right. Or C, this is very popular. The object of the game of life is to go to heaven when you die. A lot of people think that one. It would be cool, but as we say, Jesus won't be there. He's there now, we know, but he's coming back here. Right. So we don't want to miss him. So, yeah. Or D, some people think, and this isn't so bad, they think just to make the world a better place now, which is a good idea in general, but I don't think that's the ultimate object of the game. So E, question mark. So what is the real goal of real life, the real object? Well, I would say, slide 3, to manage the world as kings and queens with Jesus on a renewed earth in the future when he comes back, to help him, assist him in managing, governing, taking better care of the earth, which will be completely restored, even though it's pretty good now in some places. Okay, so what does the Bible say about winning? Well, we might think, well, the Bible doesn't talk about winning, that's about games and things. The Bible just wants us to be good and not really think about why. No, the Bible does talk about winning. It talks about races and competitions. Slide number 4 is 1 Corinthians 9, 24 to 26. And you have that. It says, run so that you will win. Everyone who competes in the games must exercise self-control in everything. They do it to receive a crown that doesn't last, but we, a lasting crown. So then, Paul says, I do not run like someone running without a goal. Because what would be the point of that? Just run all over, run around the track, run off the track, run, you know, no point. We have to have the goal, and the goal is the kingdom
That's right.
in the future. And okay, what else do you have to do in a running race or in a board game? In slide number 5, you have to follow the rules. There are always rules. Of course, we find the rules for life in the scriptures, in the Bible. And what does the Bible say? Follow the rules, 2 Timothy 2:5. Would you read that one?
An athlete wins no medal unless he competes according to the rules. 2 Timothy 2:5.
2:5. Yeah. Yeah. So the Bible does talk about winning, and it talks about the rules. So we've kind of moved away from board games to like running race idea or competing in the Olympic Games idea.
Mhm.
But there's always winning, and there's prizes, there's competition. Not that we want to compete with each other. We all want to get there, right? So we want to help each other. Okay, so what else does winning involve in the process? Slide number 6, we have to be tested in life. Be tested. James 1:12. Would you read that one?
Blessed are those who endure testing, because when they have passed the test, they will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him.
Wow. So the prize is a crown of life, which is actually life in the coming age, which is actually immortal, eternal life forever to those who love God. Wow, that's quite a prize.
Yeah.
Okay, and now slide number 7. So we look for his coming. 2 Timothy 4:8 says, Paul says, there is reserved for me for the future the crown of uprightness, which the Lord, the upright judge, is Jesus, will award to me on that day. And not only to me, he says, but to all who long for his appearing. So do we long for his appearing? Do we love his appearing, which hasn't happened yet, but do we long for that day
Yes.
to happen, that capital D day, that big day,
Mhm.
the real day that would be the object of the game, I would say.